What's happening? Thanks for joining me on a Saturday, a special Saturday. I did a Saturday last week. Now I'm doing a Saturday again. Time difference, UK, East Coast of the USA. So, works well for all parties. It's afternoon in the UK and it is bright and early in the morning, 10 a.m. here in the States. Grab your coffee. We have Rob Wylde from Midnite City, and oh my God, did you dig that song? I know you dig the song. That song. I mean, they capture the 80s vibe. I mean, so well, so good. It just gives you goosebumps, this whole album. So let's get right to it. Let's get Rob in here. It's Saturday. I know he's got plenty of stuff to do. So we'll get him in here, and we will talk to him. What's up, Rob? How we doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How's your Saturday going so far?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a steady one. Just been chilling out, but all good, mate. All good. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on your show, mate.
Oh, absolutely. I had to reach out. like I was telling you before, I started a radio station a few months ago, probably 4 months ago, and you have to find music that excites people and keeps people listening and this and that. And I wanted to go a different route than like a Hair Nation or something like that, and bring new music, more European bands, the everything that's going on in the world. Certain stations don't play it, so I figured, I want to play it. And I was diving in, and I found Midnite City, and I was kind of late to the party, but I made it to the party, and that's all that matters. And I got to tell you, the first album I was really checking out was "There Goes the Neighborhood," and is a fantastic album. It's so packed with 80s style, just riffs, hooks, vocals that are just over the top. The lyrics are great, and just a great album. So Midnite City started in what, 2017, after you left Tiger Tales. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're having some technical difficulties today. Um, must be the overseas kind of thing. But Rob seems to have frozen. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. So bear with us. We'll have Rob back. He'll get back on. He's been, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, he was a member of Tiger Tales for like 3 albums, and ended up leaving Tiger Tales and started Midnite City in like 2017. And the first album was absolutely great. Um, There Goes the Neighborhood was one that really, really set the tone. Band found its identity, and there he goes. He's going to reset and come back in. There Goes the Neighborhood in 2017 was voted fifth best of the year in Classic Rock Magazine. And in Japan, it was voted best album of the past 35-year history in Bird Magazine in Japan. So that's quite a feat, considering all the albums that have come out, considering all the bands to choose from, and this and that. I mean, you gotta admit that is a hell of a feat. And it was songs like let's go down the list. Life Ain't Like This. Uh, Tonight You're All I Need, Takes One to Know One, Until the End. This album is jam packed with lots of great hooks and stuff like that. I mean, so if you haven't checked that one out, check that one out. We're still waiting on Rob. this is fun. I love it. But Midnite City just released a new album. If you haven't heard it, you have to hear it. And that first song that we played, Girls Gone Wild, is off that album. That's the first single that they released. Unbelievable hooks. Just it makes you it jets you right back to hair metal. The glory days of it. If these guys came out in say 87, they're huge. And there's no doubt about it. But nowadays it seems like rock is coming back. So bands like this, like Midnite City, and I found Crazy Licks years ago, and they bring that vibe too. It's just it just seems like it's coming back around, and some of these bands are just really, really capturing the essence of the rock as we love it and we know it. Looks like we got Rob back. He might have went to a different device.
Yeah, I think.
Do we have you back?
I think so, mate. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I apologize, but everything's fine at my end. So we've tried. Phone. Sorry about that.
Oh, phone. Some people use their phone. Whatever connection works best.
Yeah. So,
okay, I'm having a little trouble hearing. You kind of break it up a little bit the sound wise. Just a little bit. I know this. It's all good. I don't understand. I'm trying to troubleshoot over here and see if there's something going on over here, which I don't see. I mean, you're not freezing anymore. It's just, um, it's like a little bit of what do you call it? The voice breaking up. I can hear certain times, and then other times it breaks down. See, you have your technical advisor behind you. We all need the technical advisors. I mean,
Yeah. How is
okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah, let's try that.
I hear you good now.
Yeah, but it's the wrong way around.
Oh man.
I'm
just gonna have to hold it, mate. Yeah.
Okay, right there.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Everything's good.
Right. Now we're rocking and rolling.
Now we're rocking. Hey, if you did have technical difficulty, where's the sound man when you need him? You know?
I know, right?
Right?
Exactly.
Where's our stage manager here? He's taking a day off. I don't like this shit.
There we go. We're good to go now.
It's all good. I mean, it's what happens. Technical difficulties. It happens. So I was just talking. I was just trying to fill up the time, but take me back. 2017 or 16, I do believe you left Tiger Tails, and you decided to start Midnite City.
Yeah. I mean, well, actually, I left Tiger Tails last year. So what happened was I've been playing in many bands prior to Midnite City, and the band I was in before this broke up at the end of 2016, which might be the band you're thinking of. So that band sort of came to an end then, and basically it was something that I'd wanted to do for such a long time. You know, just do like you said earlier on, just like a classic sounding, classic looking, late 80s American style hair band, and that was my thing. It was something that I wanted to do for such a long time. And when my previous band came to an end at the end of 2016, I knew that was the moment. This is it. And I pretty much written that album. That album had been written before there was a band, really. So the album was written first, and then I got one by one got the band members on board, and we started work on the first album in January of 2017, and that one came out eventually in October of that year.
Nice. I mean, and you're 3 albums in. In at the Deep End is actually your 4th album.
Yeah. It
just it hits. You take an album. Okay, a band's got 4 albums. Okay, they're working on their 4th album, and like, Itch was very good. It kind of went in a different direction, I think. I don't know. And that kind of came out at a time when we were all in a different direction. We were all lost and kind of weirded out. So, a lot of music came out around that time that was kind of different. And, but, There Goes the Neighborhood was just an absolutely stellar. And I was telling, while you were gone, I was telling everybody 2017, it was the 5th best of the year in Classic Rock Magazine. 35-year history of Burn Magazine, it was the best album of the past 35 years. And that's some pretty good, praise.
Yeah, it is.
So when you hear that, it's like you go, how are they going to top? Okay, they got a new album coming out. How are they going to top this? And you really didn't know what direction Midnite City was going to go in. Were they going to go in Itch, or were they going to go There Goes the Neighborhood? And I got to tell you, when this album hit, goosebumps all around, not just one song. You sit there and you go, okay, you don't have high expectations because you get let down a lot. And that's just a fact of life. Some albums have like 1 or 2 songs that are great. This album has 10, I don't know how many songs are on it, 10, 12 songs on it that are all great. They can all be singles. Tell me about your writing process with this. Did you decide go back to, There Goes the Neighborhood, or Was it just like we got out of the pandemic and everything's great again, and there, every life's great and I'm happy again, and the writing process just took care of itself?
Yeah, it was pretty much a little bit of both, because you're dead right on the last album. It was, that album was completely written and recorded right in the middle of all the COVID stuff. So as you were saying, it was a horrible time. We didn't actually get together once to do the album.
Wow.
It was recorded in 5 completely different studios all over the UK, and we didn't get together once, and everybody was in. I mean, I'm sure it was the same over there. Nobody really knew what was going on, or how long it was all going to last, and whether we, at one point, whether we'd ever play any shows again. It was all, nobody really knew what was going on. So I think all of that kind of went into that album a little bit. Even though it wasn't really intentional to make a heavier album on the last one, it was just, I think, what was going on, and I think even the performances, like, everybody's just playing a little bit more aggressive. And I think it was just because we were all really frustrated,
right?
And kind of like pent up a little bit. And, we built so much momentum on the first 2 albums, and then suddenly it was like, it was all over and done with,
Gone.
Yeah, it was like overnight, just like that. And we were very frustrated, and, and angry and all the rest of it. So I think that's why it did come across that way, But going into this album, you're dead right that, everything is 90% back to normal now, in terms of being able to go out and not just play shows, but also go out and hang out with your friends and your family and do all that kind of stuff. So I think we were all in a much better mood going into this album, to do this album. So I think, again, that reflects in the writing. But in terms of how everything's written, I mean, I've got all my guitars behind me, but like, I literally write everything on acoustic guitar. I always have done it. So my kind of way that I write, to be honest with you, it's something that I always feel, I think if you write on an acoustic and it works with just one guy and an acoustic, then, when you then take it in the studio, when you make it sound huge and you do all the production stuff, it works. But equally, it works just as well. I go out and do a lot of acoustic shows, and all these songs work with just one acoustic.
Oh, easy. Someday, Hardest Heart to Break easily can work just sitting there, because it is so well written. This album, I don't want this to come off as a horrible comment, but if I word it right, it's not. You almost know the lyrics before they're sang. It's familiar. It's not what you expect. It's different, but one listen and you've got it. You're like, you feel them. I mean, and it gets in your soul, and you already you find yourself, some songs take you 10, 12, 15 listens before you know the lyrics. This album is like, it's so familiar, so in your soul, that you know it.
Thank you, mate. Yeah. And you've been listening to this album a lot, I can tell that.
I have.
But, yeah.
God.
That was one of my heroes, Paul Stanley from Kiss, always used to say that if a song sounds familiar, then you're onto a good thing, because obviously nothing is original. Everything kind of sounds a little bit like something else. Right. But Paul Stanley always said that that's half the battle. If you can write a song that sounds familiar to people already, you've kind of almost half won them over,
Right.
And I definitely agree with that, but like, they are, I mean, the songs are all just based on everything that all the bands that I grew up with, and just those immediate hooks and the melodies and the choruses, all the stuff that I grew up on. It's basically just a mix of all of that, and everybody in the band brings so much to the table, in their styles, and it's just, I mean, we're just as pleased with this album as you are. So there you go.
I mean, it takes a lot Because there is stuff, and you say the familiarity. I think I said that right.
You got it.
And that's what people I think are looking for. And there's so many new bands out there that want to create something different, want to bring modern in with hard, with this, and even radio stations. They want to, reach everybody, and they want to, okay, let's have Korn and Godsmack and Rat and Motley Crue and Midnite City. Let's put it all in one pot. And you can't do that. I mean,
no.
I like a certain type of music. Yes, I do listen to other stuff. I even listen to country, and I just did a yacht rock show last night. But when I really want to feel music, it is hard rock, 80s style, big vocals, arena filling sound. Just give it to me. And if it doesn't have that, I move on.
Same.
Right. And that's what we're looking for. And, bands like, okay, Midnite City, Nestor, Crazy Licks, Heat. You guys over there in Europe are capturing that, and bringing it and just bring it to the front. And like festivals like the Masters of Rock Cruise are really bringing these bands on to kind of expose people. And it seems like it catches on because it's like, most people don't want to go out and find it. They want to put it in their face, and then they may catch on to it. And with bands like Midnite City, you put it in their face and boom, they're hooked because there's the familiarity. There's sound that they're looking for, and you guys capture it.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, that means a lot. And I totally agree. I think, for doing this, I think we're a lot more authentic than a lot of bands that are trying to do this, as well. Right. I think we really, we mean it, we mean what we're doing, and I think there's nothing fake about it. There's nothing, we're not trying to jump on any bandwagon. We mean every single note we play in this band. And I think people realize that as well. And they like that fact as well.
Yes. They can feel what you're feeling. If you're fake, if I'm fake, people ain't go watch my show. If you're fake, they're not buying your album and you're going to your shows. And I think, you say fake, you brought this up. I think we have something in common, but I think you went to see them live about a month or two ago. So your opinion may have changed on this band.
Okay.
We share a same kind of, I guess you could call it a dislike for Steel Panther. And I understand that this band, wants to, they say they celebrate it. I say they poke fun at it. And I don't get them. I really don't. So, but you could tell when they're yes, they're great musicians, but lyrically they could easily go in a totally different direction than what they do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree, man. I never found, it was kind of strange because I never really found the joke funny.
No.
When they started, which was, I mean, they've been around 20, I don't even know. They've been around a long time.
Long time.
And even it's that thing of, when someone tells a joke, it's funny for the first time. And then, you hear the same joke 20 times and it's not funny. I didn't even get the joke the first time.
Neither did I. I was like, wait a minute. You're poking fun at my music, but you say you're celebrating it. So I got turned off right off the bat. And they've played with some bands that I wanted to see that have opened for them, and I just won't go because, I'm not supporting it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I went about a month ago or something like that. But the only reason I went was because I wanted to see Winger. The irony of that, they had this incredible, one of those bands from that era that we all love, and they're opening for a parody band. It was just, I know, right? I just watched Winger and just wanted to get the hell out of there if possible afterwards,
And what'd you think of Winger? I mean, I saw them and they got a lot of flack back in the 80s, but now, oh my God, are they so good?
Yeah, they're amazing. I mean, I always loved Winger back in the day.
Yes.
The first two albums for me,
oh, absolutely,
I really liked, but they were great. I mean, they're still, I mean, their set list was pretty much, you know, the classic stuff that you want to hear from the first couple of albums. But they can play, man. They can play, and Kip Winger still sounds great. His
oh
voice
my
is
God,
holding up very well. They were fantastic, you know. So, like I said, I watched them and then pretty much left straight afterwards.
headed to the back of the room.
Absolutely, yeah.
I get it, and you know, like you said, your music comes through. Midnite City comes through as real, as genuine, as you know, you feel it. You know, you get goosebumps, and there's still. It doesn't happen a lot with bands, and when you get it, and it just you get goosebumps, you just want to. And you said it sounds like you're listening to this album quite a bit. I am. It just seems to keep on my playlist. I ordered the CD, and I still haven't got it because I think I screwed up because I do that every now and then. I don't hit buy or something like that, and I just go out of the thing. But you know, thanks to Spotify and YouTube, you can still watch, you can still listen. But it's one of them CDs that if you're an 80s metal fan, if you're an 80s hard rock fan, if you love that style of music, this CD needs to be in your collection. Absolutely.
I agree.
Now,
I mean, absolutely. It definitely is. Yeah.
Of course you're going to agree. Now, one thing with this, and I love it. I love it. You guys this is the first time you guys have used the intro track. And I'm really digging bands that are starting to put this intro track in and then go into the first. And it blends so well where that siren is going off and you're like, what am I going to hear? And then the siren continues and you're like going into the first song and you're like, oh, this is freaking great. It just sets the tone so well for this album.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it really does. Well, actually, our keyboard player, Sean, came up with the intro. It's called Outbreak. And
yes,
like you said, we've never really done one on any of our previous albums. And it was something that, you know, a lot of my favorite albums would have, you know, going back to like Slippery When Wet with the big keyboard intro.
Yes.
And Danger, Danger, Screw It, Main Attraction, White Lion. I mean, there's so many of those albums that had that kind of intro, which wouldn't be long. It'd be kind of like about 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds, and then it would sort of kick into the first track. And we decided, like between me and Sean, that we need an intro thing on this album. So he said, okay, well, I'll come up with something. And he did a great job. And what's great is when we play live, because we just literally finished, we've been doing a UK tour over the past 4 weeks, which we finished 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Basically, that intro is kind of lengthened out a little bit, but that's our intro when we play live, and then we kick into Ready to Go, which is the first song of the
album.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we're following the album, really, you know. But
that is
just kind of make the intro a little bit longer to drag it out a little bit, and then bang straight into the first one. But he did a great job. He just put all kinds of weird and wonderful. There's sirens in there. There's like sub drops. There's all kinds of weird and wonderful things going on in the intro. But it sounds cool. He did a good job.
It sounds fantastic. I mean, like I said, it leads into the whole album. Now, Hardest Heart to Break. Let's about the song, because it doesn't confuse me, but what are you trying to say during that song? I mean, she's the hardest heart to break. You're trying to break her heart. I love the song, but what is it about?
No, actually, the song itself, obviously, it's a sort of a relationship breakdown song,
right?
But the actual term "you're the hardest heart to break," basically, what it is kind of saying, well, you know, in most relationships, when things break down, whether it's a relationship or whether it's people going through a divorce or whatever, 9 times out of 10, it's usually one person that wants to break up, and you know, quite often it's the other person doesn't. You know, usually occasionally it's a mutual thing, but certainly
not very often.
Not very often, yeah.
No.
It's usually a one-sided thing, and basically, it's kind of saying, and this was about a previous relationship of mine. You know, thankfully now, funnily enough, I just got engaged a couple of days ago.
So congratulations!
So, thanks, man. Yeah, so this is definitely not about my current relationship.
You heard it here first.
Yeah,
Rob is officially off the market.
Yeah, we've been together a long time, but but it was actually written about my not to go into too many personal details, but it was actually about sort of the previous relationship breakup that I had, and I basically kind of wrote it about saying, well, you know, I'm sitting at home, you know, drowning my sorrows, you know, staring at four walls, drinking a beer, feeling miserable with myself, while you're out having a good time with your friends, clearly not as bothered as I am that this relationship is over. So the whole tagline in this song is, "You're the hardest heart to break," as in, well, how come your heart's not breaking? How come you're not at home, you know, feeling like, you know, it's the end of the world? You're having a great time, and I'm feeling the exact opposite. So that's kind of what the message of the song is. And I mean, we've all been through it, haven't we? So I think everybody can to that one, and it's actually my favorite song on the album as well.
Dude, I gotta say it. You know, it's hard to pick, man. You put out an album where I can't. You know, I listened to Hardest Heart to Break, and I'm like, okay, this is my favorite. And then Someday, okay, now that's my. You know, Someday is an absolutely amazing song, and like, you've captured everything. Okay, some bands, they take, okay, we're going to take some keyboards and throw it in the bowl. It's like making a cake, you know?
Yeah.
And we're going to take some keyboards, some high-end vocals, thunder drums. We're going to throw in some na-na-na-na-nas and hey-hey-hey-hey-heys and this and that. We're going to shake it up, and here's the album. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have taken this, you know, Hardest Heart to Break has the na-na-na-na-na, and that is just, you know, it fits. It's so good. And it, you know, so much of this album, the keyboards aren't overpowering. They're not under. They're right there where they need to be. And it's just, you've captured it on every song. So it's so difficult. The next song you hear, you're like, okay, this is my favorite song. And then you're like, wait a minute, no, this is my favorite song. Okay, which song is my? So then you got to go, and you made it so that I have to go listen to it all over again. And then I get to the end, I got to listen to it all over again. So this is why I can't stop listening to the damn thing, because, you know, it's hard to choose a song.
That's amazing. Thank you, man. Yeah, it means a lot. And actually, also, I want to give a big shout out to Chris Laney, who mixed the album.
Chris Laney. Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, which was one of the, I think this, because, you know, I was doing an interview this morning, actually, funnily enough, and one of the questions was, you know, what's changed between, because I think a lot of people, I mean, obviously we have our diehard fans who have been with us from the start, but it is strange that on this album, we do seem to be picking up fans that, for some reason, I don't know how, because we're pretty active on social media, and
very much so, yes.
But a lot of people are actually just discovering us for the first time on this album, and the interviewer was asking me, you know, why do you think that is? And I think it is just because of, you know, it's a mixture of the songs, but also, you know, how the actual album sounds, you know, because you know, when we first started working with Chris, he said, you know, what kind of sound do you want? You know, when you know, we basically just said we wanted to sound as 80s as possible. We're not interested in sounding contemporary. You know, look at us, you know, no, you know, there's no denying what kind of music we're doing. So why would you try and, you know, please people that aren't going to like your band anyway? You know, you might as well, you're an 80s rock band, basically. So let's sound like an 80s rock band. So
you're an 80s rock band in 2020.
There we go. I don't know how that works exactly, but it's kind of, that's the plan. So
it's freaking working, dude.
But yeah, so he did a lot of you know, in the mix. I mean, the album, there's live drums on the album, but he re-triggered the drums, and he's basically kind of using the drums that Def Leppard used a lot, you know, on their big albums. And there's just a lot of, you know, in the mix, he's really gone for that real late 80s sound, you know. So it kind of, even though it does sound fresh, it also does sound a little bit like it could have come out in, you know, 1989, which was really the whole point of the entire album, really.
And you know, you get the feeling, you like I said before, you get the feeling that this is in your soul, that it's not just something you're just, okay, this is a fad right now. It seems like 80s are coming back, so let's put out an 80s album. You know, this is what you feel. This is you. This is the band. This is everybody. This is, you know, we feel that. And that is probably why you guys are gaining traction like crazy. And I've noticed more people are talking about Midnite City, more social media posts. There's a group called Melodic Mafia. I think you're a part of that. And they are sharing it in there. And people are just like, hey, get, you know, this band on the Monsters of Rock cruise, you know, or try to get them over to the States. It'd be great to get bands like Midnite City on a little tour with, like, say a Crazy Licks or a Heat or something like that, and get a little thing going where boom, 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 they do some cities around here, because it's hard to reach the U.S. fan base except for like the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Yeah, it is. Well, and we're working on the Monsters of Rock cruise, by the way. I am actually, I've been speaking to somebody there for quite a while, and it's not going to be next year, unfortunately, but it's looking like there's a good possibility. I'm not saying nothing's been confirmed yet, but I think there's going to be a good possibility that we might be doing the Monsters of Rock cruise in 2025.
You know, and I was, you're killing me. I was trying to not do the Monsters of Rock cruise in 2025. Here we go. Well, I guess I'm going. No, but you know, Larry does a great job with this, and he, you know, he probably was waiting to see new album, how the band's going, what's going on. He watches traction, he watches what's going on with bands, and says, okay, this band needs to come on, because they, you know, like Nestor, they gain traction. So, you know, Midnite City, perfect fit, I think, on the Monsters of Rock cruise, absolutely, easily.
Yeah, we're trying to get as many people on board. You know, we've had a lot of people voting for us and stuff on the Monsters of Rock Facebook group and stuff. So I think it's got to happen. I mean, I can't think of a new band that deserves more to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise than us, because I think we sum up everything that everybody loves about the 80s bands on the cruise, you know. So we're like the new version of all the bands that they go to see. So
right,
you know, hopefully.
I think you're a shoo-in. I'll keep pushing for it. I know others will keep pushing for it, and hopefully we get you on in 2025, and maybe for the hell of it, get you on in 2024. We'll push for that anyway.
Oh, that'd be great.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they do another thing called the Monsters on the Mountain in Tennessee, and they're going to be doing that late 2024. They just announced the dates. We'll start pushing for that. They bring over, they've done it in the past where they bring over some European bands to try and get them on. They try Crazy Licks, and I think Eclipse were supposed to be a part of the last one, but because of visa and how the world was still because of the pandemic, it didn't happen. So I know he's going to try to pull. And Larry Moran does great. And April, can't forget April. April Lee both of them do a great job on Monsters on the Mountain and Monsters Rock Cruise. That's why it's so successful. Keep it fresh. And they really are keeping it fresh. And a band like Midnite City easily should be in it.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
Now, let's get into a little bit about you. What artist from back in the day or whatever, what's the one artist that absolutely changed your outlook and you said, I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to do music for the rest of my life. What was that one artist?
I was a little kid, and here in England, and there was a band called Europe.
Yes.
Swedish band, and they had a massive hit over here. Number one hit, actually, number one single with the song "The Final Countdown." And
absolutely,
at the time, I was a little kid. I was like, like 9 years old at the time, or something like that. And I was just, just in love with that band as a little kid. And then my mum took me to my very first concert when I was 11 years old. And she took me to see Europe on the Out of This World tour. And that was the night. I'd already decided probably prior to that, when I was probably about 7 or 8, maybe even earlier, that I wanted to, do this for a living. I started playing guitar when I was 9. But it was that night and that concert, the Europe concert, I remember seeing that. And that was when Europe were kind of like at their sort of glammiest, shall we say. And they had this big stage show with these walkways, and the pyro went off at the beginning. And they all came running down the staircase and shit. And it was just like, as a little 11-year-old kid, it was just that moment was it. And it was just like, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I never ever wanted to do anything else. But it was, I think every musician has that gig, that moment, that sort of light bulb moment where it's like, whoa.
Absolutely. And to look at somebody like Joey Tempest, who has an amazing voice, and a lot of people look at that one album, The Final Countdown, and they don't realize that there's so much more to Europe previous and past that. Europe is one of them bands where if you can't really just focus on The Final Countdown, because that does not signify the band. This band is way bigger than that.
Yeah. I mean, they got kind of unfairly kind of judged just on that album and song, really, which was completely unfair. I mean, my favorite album was actually the one after that, which was a tour that I saw, which was Out of This World.
Yes.
But that was the night, and it was just like, I remember coming out of that gig and just, I just knew what I wanted to do, and that was it. Right. And obviously there was a lot of bands after that, but they were the first ones, if I'm honest.
Hey, that's a good one. And Joey Tempest even said, he goes, one day they asked him, they said, do you mind being considered a one-hit wonder because of The Final Countdown? He's like, really? No, I don't. It's great. At least I'm considered in this massive sea of great bands that even if they just remember me for one song, they're going to remember me.
He made an impact, and I'm sure his bank account doesn't mind that song either.
It's not, it can't be suffering. I saw him M3 2015, and God, were they good. I mean, God, it's just such a great band. They really are a great band, and it's a great story. 11 years old. Nice.
11 years old, yeah.
Now, when you're not playing out, say it's Saturday afternoon, what kind of hobbies you got?
What
do you do?
I'll tell you what.
Besides do interviews with stupid people like me.
No way, no. Music just takes up so much money. I mean, it takes up all, and the band as well. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes with bands and stuff. Making it work, and a million jobs, and I do a lot of them, so that keeps me busy. I have a couple of other things that I do as well, like musically, and I do a lot of solo acoustic gigs. I've got an open up actually. I did a tour actually back in March, opening up for Ted Poley over here from Danger.
Dude.
I've got a tour, like 4 or 5 shows with Mike Tramp coming up in August from White Lion.
Dude, you fit in perfectly with both of them guys.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh my God, yes.
The Ted thing was the booking agent got in touch with me, and he said, Ted's coming over. He's doing an 8-day UK acoustic tour, and you're just the perfect guy to put with him. So that was great. We had such a blast. Ted's
awesome.
Yeah, we got along great, and we ended up becoming really good friends by the end. And Mike as well. Mike's a great guy, and I've done stuff with him before. But yeah, sorry, getting off track a little bit. But apart from when I'm not doing music, it's pretty boring, really. I like to go running. I like going out in the countryside, walking, kind of getting away from things a little bit. I love going to my local pub and have some beers.
No way.
But that's it. Nothing. I don't do anything kind of like. I'm just so obsessed with music, and I could really, to be honest with you, I could do with like some sort of, I don't know, other outlet, but music just takes up so much of my time that's pretty much all I do, really.
Right. And I do know, okay, we might get a little off track here, but we have to bring this up before we end. Teenage Casket Company. If anybody doesn't know, that was a band a while back that you were a part of. That it seems I did see something where they got a show going to be happening.
Yeah.
Teenage Casket Company. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the band that ended right before I started Midnite City. So that was a band that I'd had for a long time prior to Midnite City, and slightly different, and not quite. It wasn't a hair metal thing. It was more of a kind of power pop, sort of like Cheap Trick type.
Right. Exactly.
Really cool. Really
great music.
Thank you. Yeah, and it was great, and the cool thing was with that band is when the band split up. Unfortunately, most bands, when bands split up, this guy doesn't talk to that guy.
Right.
But we just sort of taken it as far as we could take it, and we all sort of wanted to do other things. I wanted to do the Midnite City thing, so we said, well, let's end it. But we've always remained good friends, and I still see the bass player more now than I did when I was in the band with him.
Wow. Funny how that works out, isn't it?
It's weird, yeah. So we played a show, a Midnite City show, just before Christmas last year, and the bass player and the guitar player from my old band, they were opening up for Midnite City, so it was good, good to see him again. And then afterwards, we just decided, it'd be cool maybe just to do like a one-off gig, and that's all it is. The band is not getting back together. I've got no time to do any other thing. Midnite City is like my absolute priority for everything, but we figured, just to do a one-off show here in Nottingham, just for sort of old time's sake, really, and kind of, relive, those old albums that we put out, almost, like coming up to the first album's almost like 20
years.
So we just thought it would be a cool little one-off thing to do, and everybody seems to be really excited about it. The tickets went on sale yesterday, and we've already sold a ton of tickets for it. So it'll be fun. I just got to relearn all the songs now. Which
I'm pretty sure you'll be just fine at it.
Thank you, mate.
But yeah, that was kind of cool. I saw that yesterday. I'm like, or a couple days ago that TCC was getting back, and I'm like, or not getting back, just doing a one-off show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool. Because I kind of was thinking the same thing. I'm like, hopefully he's not gonna.
No.
Try, some artists try to do 15 things, and every one of their 15 things suffers.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on one thing, keeping this train rolling in the right direction, keeping this, you got momentum with Midnite City, just keep it freaking going. But when you start, okay, maybe we'll release a new album with TCC, maybe we'll do this over here, Tiger Tails wants me to come back and do a tour with them. Once you do that, everything suffers.
It does. We had an issue with a guy a while ago who is actually because we switched drummers on this album, and that was kind of like one of the reasons why, because he was doing, and there's nothing wrong, with people wanting to do a million different things, but like you said, you can only give 100% to one thing, and you kind of need to stay focused on that, and so yeah, that's absolutely what I'm going to be doing, so don't worry about that.
Thank you very much. because the like I said, the Midnite City train is rolling. It's gaining momentum. You said it yourself. Uh, it, Fans are starting to come on board. 4 albums in, doesn't matter. They're starting to get it. And fans these days are a fickle bunch. I mean, we really are. I mean, we want certain things, and you better give it to us. If you don't, we're out.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's people are like that, But we just got to kind of keep doing what we're doing, I guess, And it's like you said, people are just coming on board, on our 4th album. That's fine, because the more people get on board with what we're doing, the better, really,
That opens up Monsters of Rock Cruise, Monsters on the Mountain, maybe M3 Rock Festival, maybe, shit in the States, promoters over here that will get it and say, okay, let's bring a few bands up. It opens up a lot of doors. When the fans start beating down the doors and screaming, hey, we want this, we want this, we want this, people have to listen.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That's it.
But anything else you want to talk? Get out there, say shows coming up, acoustic gigs. You do have, if I'm not mistaken, don't you have a? You had one single out, right? That was solo. What was it?
I did. Yeah, I did a few things. I did. I did a cover version of.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
One So Bad, which was like a
yes.
Yeah, that was, and that went on a
Def Leppard. It was like a tribute album kind of thing to Def Leppard.
That's it. Yeah, that came out last year. But yeah, in terms of what I've got coming up for the rest of this year, we're playing the Hard Rock House Sleaze Festival in New York. Going to be great. It's always good doing that.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
And then we have a sort of, we always do sort of like a show just before Christmas in Sheffield, and we're also going. I think I can say this because it's not officially been announced, but we're going back to Japan in December. Nice. So we're going with the shows are booked, and we're going back playing in Tokyo and a show in Osaka. And then we've got something lined up for January, which I'm not allowed to say about that at the minute. And then we've got another UK tour booked for April next year, which is that's all booked and ready to go. And then hopefully, like I said, we're really hoping to get out to Europe a little bit more, play some festivals, but we're really, really gunning to get out and do the Monster Rock Cruise as well. And maybe if we could do the Monster Rock Cruise, we may do like 1 or 2 gigs around it,
Right.
But we'd absolutely love to come, because we get messages all the time from people in the States come over and play, and
right.
And so do we. We want to come over and play as well. So hopefully, yeah. Oh, and then the last thing is that I've got about 4 dates with Mike Tramp in August over here.
Nice.
My solo acoustic stuff, but when I'm doing that, I mean, I'm doing all Midnite City songs anyway, so
right.
I'm almost like Midnite City acoustic, so.
And like I said before, some bands, they do this acoustic thing. The front man gets out there, he does an acoustic thing, and it don't work. I mean, it's like, for example, Alice in Chains did it years ago. And yeah, okay, 1 or 2 of the songs are cool acoustically, but they're not meant for acoustic.
Yeah.
But Midnite City, they would work easy. That is a show. I don't see a lot of acoustic shows because they're not my taste, and it just doesn't work. Ron Keel does acoustic shows, and he does it really, really good. And I feel yours would be just, I've seen some of yours and it works perfectly. I mean, get out and see his acoustic shows. It's not your typical acoustic show where you're going, It is a great, the voice is there and the feeling behind the lyrics are there. I mean, it's a good show.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I always try and make the acoustic gigs fun as well. It's not serious, and I try and keep it all upbeat. And right. Pretty good time. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and Midnite City keeps rolling down the highway, gaining fans. Get on the bandwagon, because if you don't, you're going to miss out. But thank you so much for being here, for stopping by and chatting with us and talking.
Mike, sorry we had a few technical issues, but we got there.
I told you it would all work out. It's rock and roll, baby. It's never perfect, but it all works, and it goes great.
Absolutely, man. Cheers, mate.
Well, we're going to leave with Hardest Heart to Break, my favorite for this 5 minutes off the album. Right now it's my favorite. Who knows in an hour from now? But thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you especially to Rob from Midnite City for being here. Had a great time.
Cheers, mate.
You have a great rest of your day, brother.
You too, mate. Take care.
You too. But anyway, thank you, everybody, for being here. Great time. Rob's great. Love him. Get out there. Check out Midnite City. Go on Spotify and check everything out. I'll post a bunch of links either later today or tomorrow where you can find merch, music, info, websites. I'll post all them links either later today or tomorrow and get them up there so that you can just one click find Midnite City and everything Rob's got going on. But here is Hardest Heart to Break. This is a fantastic song. You're going to love this. If you haven't already heard it, this could be your new favorite song right here. So enjoy. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll be back next Thursday, and I will have Greg Chasen, Atomic Kings. You know him from Badlands and now Atomic Kings. He'll be here to talk Atomic Kings next Thursday night, 7:30. Here is Midnite City, Hardest Heart to Break. Have a great Saturday.
Like that moment when the world stops turning around, when every sentence